Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Where's Carl on the Monkey Caviar Podcast Network. I'm Tiny, your host. With me, as always, Adam Levy. Adam, how are you tonight?
Been better. Today was a bit of a sad day.
It's a sad day, but we're gonna talk about that later. Let's do Walking Dead first, and then we'll get to sadness. Because there's a lot of sadness, but we did get our first episode post Rick. And
not just post Rick, but post Rick and post Maggie.
Not post Maggie.
Yeah, last week was her last episode.
Around.
Well, she's not gone. Yeah, last week was her last episode. Yeah, all the sites are reporting that she's done.
No, they're just going to show up at Hilltop and Maggie's not going to be there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, all the entertainment sites were saying that last week was Maggie's last episode. They just didn't make anything of it because, her leaving, I think, wasn't the same as Rick's, where Rick was just ready to move on. She was left because of contract disputes.
Wow. Well, if it was, it was.
Yeah, like a lot of the sites I was reading said that it was her last episode. They just didn't make anything of it.
Oh, well, whatever. Bye.
If you notice, her name wasn't even in the credits.
I did not notice.
Yeah, both her and Andrew Lincoln are out of the credits.
Wow. All right, well, let's get to what we can talk about and what did happen.
Yeah, let's do it.
First of all, it's kind of broken down into like a couple of different stories. I don't know who had the best story. I'm guessing Carol.
Carol was cold-blooded, man.
Carol.
Looking very Jamie Lee Curtis with that long hair.
She does look a lot like Jamie Lee Curtis. Yeah, you're right. I started this episode with no apprehension again. I'm okay with Andrew Lincoln leaving. I was okay with the time jump. I wanted to see new Judith. I wanted to see how badass she really was. And delivered this girl they got playing her. That's a great job. Fantastic.
Yeah, she's definitely got she's got the character down. I mean, considering we don't know who this character is, we got a great idea of who she is in this episode. She is the amalgamy of all of them, of Carl, Rick, and Michonne. Yeah, she's got the stones. She can definitely stand up to the adults. She can go toe to toe with Negan.
And she loses one brother, gains another one.
Yes, she does.
Let's talk about the dirty pickle Rick that gets to show up. Like viewers, I am in favor of a good curb stomping of a kid. All right. This one has got to go. I don't even know this child's name. Don't care.
It's probably Rick.
It's probably Richard. And that's going to make it even worse. So, gotta go.
Yeah.
I thought I was done with Rick's dirty pickle being in my Michonne. And then I see this thing run down the hall, and I'm like, oh, look at it. It's 5 years. Oh, my God. That last time, that son of a bitch.
Yeah. I guess when you're going to die, you get really potent there at the end.
I guess. One for the road, huh? What is it with dudes getting chicks pregnant on this show and then dying?
It happens, yeah.
And I don't want to get off on a racist thing, but what's with all the black people raising all the white babies? Everybody, like Henry is he's the crown prince now, and Judith is getting raised by Michonne, calling her mom, and now there's Pickle Rick. This is what I'm going to call that little bastard.
It works.
Little Pickle Rick. Anyway, all right. So she's got a little brother, whatever. Michonne's still talking to ghosts, and that's fine. I don't see anything wrong with it. She's just grieving, and she's also
become pretty closed off. It seems, the way she reacted to the new people, like she does not seem to want to have anything to do with new people.
Okay, but we'll get to the end of her story here in a minute. But her basic gist is her solution is, what, this just shouldn't be my problem. Let's give them to somebody else.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's what her solution is. we obviously this big five are going to play a big part in the show. I thought they gave him a great introduction with the council.
Yeah.
And asking, you know, what were you before or who are you now? And what did you do to survive? I also found I really enjoyed the Connie and Kelly, the deaf girls.
Are they both girls?
Yeah, they are both girls.
I thought one of them was. I thought the one that could talk was a boy.
No, girls, both girls.
Okay.
And they're sisters on the show, and the one is actually deaf.
Oh, nice.
And the other one is hearing impaired. So that's kind of awesome. So yeah, and much like them using what's his name on Fear the Walking Dead, who's actually in a wheelchair. They actually used an actual deaf actress for a deaf role. So kudos to The Walking Dead.
Yeah, good for them.
Right, and I like their characters. They're spunky.
Yeah, I mean, all five of them, or at least six, I guess, isn't there?
There's five. Well, six died.
Okay.
They lost one in the opening.
That's right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, the fifth one was in the hospital. Was the infirmary.
Yeah,
we didn't get much of that one.
Yeah, not much. But the other four, we got a lot on.
I like the guy. I like the actor. I can't think of the actor's name.
Dan Folger.
Yeah, him.
He was from Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. If you
and Balls of Fury.
You've seen him before. Balls of Fury. A few other fine films.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's great in this role because he's very downplayed and very. I don't want to say it's not self-deflammatory, but he knows who he is. He's a music teacher, and that's it.
Yeah, he seems kind of humble.
Yeah, humble, even if not just a little down on himself.
Yeah.
It reminds me a lot of Eugene when we first met Eugene.
Exactly.
And now Eugene, of course, badass.
Yeah, he is.
6 years, and he's got a Khal Drago ponytail going down his back, and he's like, nobody takes my ponytail.
And he's charging into walkers, just like slashing them and popping in the head. Yeah, I mean, Eugene grew a pair while in the 6 years.
He does a good job walking around with the deer slapped over his shoulders. I mean, good on Eugene.
Yeah.
I noticed Aaron had the prosthetic arm.
Yeah.
It didn't show up a lot. They didn't show a lot of it, but I was like, oh, yeah, he did have his arm cut off. Huh? Oh yeah, well,
it's probably cheaper than trying to digitally remove the arm. So you just slap a piece of metal over it, and boom, problem solved.
A piece of plastic over it, and we 3D printed him an arm.
There you go.
The apocalypse. They get a lot of shit done in the apocalypse. They get shit done that I can't get done here right now because it's been a horrible rainy day here in the Carolinas, and it's obviously by the sweatshirt it's cold. And yeah, so I can't get shit done here, and this guy in the apocalypse has got a new arm. So fuck right. I mean, good on him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that was in the manual that that old lady brought over how to make prosthetics, but somebody figured something out,
right? Okay.
Well, I mean, shit. If the governor can figure out how to make a spring-loaded sword arm for Merle, I'm sure somebody was able to figure out how to do something for Aaron.
That was a nice thing, Merle. And I remember that. All right, so Judith brings him in, and Michonne's not so happy with the new groupie in there. It's like, who made this call? And Aaron's like, I made this call. She's like, not your call. And Judith goes, I did it. And she's like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't step to Judith.
Judith has power.
She does. Being the daughter of Rick, she definitely commands respect. Plus, as Michonne being her surrogate parent, the kids are going to kind of walk all over the parents sometimes.
Oh, I don't. She should walk over Michonne because
I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you're right. But she does lessons with Michonne. Our little ass kicker is indeed a little. I
want to know where they found that little sword for her.
I don't know. It's pitching though. It's
it's like the little
apocalypse.
It's like the samurai sword sets. There's like the three swords. This is like the middle one. It's a little. I can't remember what the name of that sword's called.
I don't know,
But
but it's badass. I like it. And
yeah.
if she had a full size katana, she'd never be able to pull the thing out.
Yeah, it'd be taller than her.
Yeah, so I like that she's 3 foot tall, got a katana, got the gun, got the hat. She's got a little bit of everybody going on.
Yeah.
She's
Give her an eye patch and she'd have a little bit of Carl going on too.
She's a Mr. Potato Head of the Apocalypse. So she's got this whole new group. And that they're fine, whatever. Michonne, of course, is gonna let them stay. Come on. It's just like the first episode back, we're not gonna be like, all right, throw you guys to the fucking wild. There's 5 more walkers. And that's it. Yeah. No, it's not happening that way.
No. I mean, I understand. I understand Michonne having reservations. You've always got to be careful of new people in this world. They've had a lot of bad interactions with other living people out there. It's not the zombies you have to worry about. It's the people that can think and can turn on you that
right. But
you really have to pay attention to.
In the course of 6 years, I'm few more than one person has stumbled up to the gates of Alexandria.
Yeah, I'm sure.
There's a thriving community there, so I can't say that she sent everyone away and sent them packing.
No.
So I don't know what it was about this particular group. Maybe Magda and her prison tattoos, or I understand.
Well, just one prison tattoo. The rest of them look pretty damn professional.
Yeah, pretty good.
Well, I mean, I know the one on the chest is real. I've seen, I saw some pictures of her, and she actually has that tattoo.
So I learned that I learned a few things. The Magda girl was on the 100.
Yeah, I looked her up because she looks familiar, but I haven't seen anything she's been in.
Yeah, I've seen her on the 100. And the deaf girl came from Broadway. And Judith appeared in the season 2 finale of Preacher.
I remember you saying something about that.
She is one of the students in one of the rooms. Yeah, so
okay.
Judith is an
AMC alumnus.
She's big in our world. Preacher and The Walking Dead. Those are the things we love, right? All right. Who else do I want to start? There's a couple I want to get to, but
let's see. We can cover, Gabriel really quick.
No. I want to wait on that one. Hold on. I got a lot to say on that. Daryl. All right. Daryl is apparently camping.
Yeah, Daryl's on a walkabout.
Daryl's got his tent. He's by himself. He fishes. He kills walkers, and he's just waiting for Carol to show up in a wagon.
Yeah.
So okay, that's cool.
Considering that he's now top billing on the show, they've done very little with him in this episode.
0 with him in this episode. Like, I didn't even know I thought he was camping. So okay. That covers Daryl. We can move on to a different topic. Henry, the young protege. Henry, the new Henry, 6 years older Henry, played by the brother of younger Henry.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who is also the brother of Sophia.
Oh, wow. Talking about
Carol has worked with this entire family. So good on Melissa McBride is like going to a lot of weddings in that family.
Is it bad that I still wanted old Henry to die too?
Henry.
Oh, just as bad as old Henry.
Yeah, I want him to die. Can't wait for him to die.
I mean, good on him for fixing that water leak. That was some like submarine level shit right there. But at the slightest sound of like somebody calling for help, he's off running. Didn't even think about the possibility it was a trap. I knew it was a trap before he rounded that corner.
I knew it was a trap. You knew it was a trap. Admiral Akbar knew it was a trap.
Carol knew it was a trap. Yeah, if Admiral Akbar would have popped out of some of the screen somewhere going, "It's a trap," that just would have been perfect.
Would have been funny and wouldn't have fazed me.
No.
So Carol whips around the corner to try to save his bacon, and lo and behold, it's our old savior pals from the bridge. Hey, how's it going, Jed?
I was thankful for that. I'm glad we got the resolution 6 years later of what happened in that camp. Right. I'm sure a few of their people died, but to see that, not everybody was killed. A lot of them got away. And also, we learn apparently of the fall of Sanctuary. Sanctuary failed.
Sanctuary failed, and that's rightfully. Well, that had to happen once the bridge and all that went down. It was. Did we lose everything? Can you hear me still?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, I just lost you for a while. It went black on my end, but whatever. That's okay. We'll motor on.
Yeah, I was surprised to see in the beginning of the episode that they didn't even bother to fix the bridge. They just kind of left it there as a memorial to Rick, I guess.
Yeah, why attempt to fix it?
Yeah,
6 years ago. Like, you didn't have to do it quick, but over 6 years, you might have been able to scrap up some material.
Yeah, you'd think so.
You would think, but they didn't. Excuse me.
I'm guessing it's the Rick Grimes Memorial Bridge now.
It's the Rick Grimes Memorial Gap. The Rick Grimes Defies Physics Memorial Gap. Watch how he flew around like a magic bullet to kill Kennedy.
Yeah, he got some distance on that explosion.
He got distance, and he's sucked into the water. Something, I don't forget it.
Yeah,
there's no.
It's television. It doesn't have to make sense.
All right, so she meets up with these saviors, and they take all their goodies, and then the stupidest thing, the guy Jed wants her ring, because rings have value in the apocalypse.
Yeah, he's gonna go to the nearest pawn shop and pawn it for some canned goods.
Yeah, well, I didn't understand why he would ask for it. If he was, just
I think mostly because he's a dick.
Okay, and that's fine, but it seemed pointless and stupid. Yeah. And it turns out it was a good thing that he did it, because afterwards Carol gives up all the goodies. Like, here, take the ring. Fuck, it's just a ring. She
gives it to him after Henry decides to, be a man and take down Jed, because
it's not like
when you're outnumbered like 15-1,
right? We've seen Henry pop off with a stick before. He's not great.
And I'm sure in 6 years he's probably had some chance to improve, but the odds were not in his favor in that one.
No, not at all. He's not great. So yeah, he gets knocked down. He gets knocked down and he gets up again, and they're never going to keep him down.
Never. And, he doesn't get some whiskey drink or some vodka drink.
There you go.
Or some lager drink.
Yeah. It's an episode that reminds you of the good times. It's an episode that reminds you of the bad times.
So, you don't get enough Chumbawamba references anymore.
Yeah, So after all this action, Carol and Henry are having a little quiet moment in the evening, and he's like, I can't believe you just rolled over and gave up your ring. You're supposed to stand up to people, because you told me that's what you do. You stand up to evil people. And I can see Carol go, it's a fucking ring. Like,
yeah,
let it go, bro.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, they have stood up against evil people, but you've got to pick your battles. You can't just stand up. You can't just fight every battle, because and especially in a situation like that, there was no chance of survival for them had they decided to fight.
No, Zero. It was like the new 5 people trying to fight with Michonne. That's a stupid fight. You don't want to pick that fight.
No.
Better to walk away and live tomorrow without a ring, and you come back later.
Exactly.
But hearing her little boy get in her head, and now she's all motherly. She goes out and she goes full fucking Carol.
Yeah, I was glad to see that Carol hasn't lost a touch. You
do not mess with Carol. Just don't do it. My favorite portion being that she used the match that
that Jed was sucking on.
I've hated that match since the first time I saw it, and I was just like, somebody use that thing again. And she used his own match, lit him up. I want to know how she special effects.
I want to know how she doused all those people in gasoline without waking them up.
Right? You would think that if you were getting dosed in gas, you'd be like, "Hey,
or like, why am I wet?"
Yeah. Did I pee? That's possible, but
that was like some stealth gas pouring right there.
Yeah, so I like that she stands over him and he's like, no, you'll never see us again. And she's like, yeah, I know.
Boom. Yeah.
And then she walks away. She walks away, and it was like Tom Cruise walking away from a car exploding in Mission Impossible.
It kind of reminded me. It kind of reminded me of a scene from the video game Borderlands 2. There's a scene where you got to take out this base, and one of the boss has like this jet he's flying around in, and there's an achievement. One of the little side missions is you have to blow up the jet and then walk away and rotate the camera so you're looking at your face while it's blowing up behind you, and that's kind of what that looked like as Carol's walking away with all the flaming people behind her.
I thought it was a Kaiser Soze walk away. It was very reminiscent.
And then the next morning, Henry sees her with the ring and just decides not to say anything.
Because that's a don't ask, don't tell moment right there.
Seriously.
Like I don't want to
know no questions. I'll tell you no lies. Yeah.
Whatever you did, you had to do, and that's on you. Good job, Ma.
If Henry learned anything from that scenario, from that scene, it's fucking don't do shit to your mom.
Yeah, don't fuck with Carol. That's it. And we've known that for a while.
Oh yeah. But but up until that point, it seemed like those 6 years marriage and raising another kid has kind of calmed Carol down. But no, there's still that dark side of Carol.
But she's not apt to take the title of queen.
No, she doesn't want that.
She's not real hip to that, but yeah, I think she's gonna get it anyway.
And Jerry's going to call her queen no matter what, because he's Jerry.
Oh, shit, yeah. Melissa McBride on Talking Dead was talking about the wedding of Ezekiel and Carol and how Jerry would be, best man and be a huge part of it. And I was like, damn right he would.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely. That'd be the best wedding ever. And then,
cobbler for everybody.
She said Ezekiel would do vows for an hour and a half while Carol took a nap. I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. And then, exactly, cobbler time for everybody. Fruit time.
Jerry, leave the cobbler.
Jerry, leave the cobbler. Ah, goddamn, I love Jerry. I love Jerry so much. I'm so glad
he is one of my favorite characters on the show. I want more Jerry in the show.
We'll get it. I'm sure we'll get it. All right, so let's see. We covered that. I guess the only person to cover is Rosita. So let's go for the first of this episode's 2 holy shit moments. Holy shit moment number 1. Rosita kisses Father Gabriel. What the fuck?
Ever since he let Anne touch his dick, he's just been getting, he's banging his way through Alexandria, apparently.
Dude, he is the one-eyed playa priest of all time.
Gabriel of the Milky Eye, man, getting all kinds of play.
Milky Eye preacher runs shit. My God. We all know that, Eugene loves Rosita. And I love that he said he was trying to work up the testicular
fortitude.
Testicular fortitude to tell her. Don't make it
She's like, don't make this weird, Eugene. We're going to get through this.
So, so they're out putting out a radio relay to try to boost their signal. And they're up on the water tower and the big old horde comes. Oh, and then Eugene's got a...
Oh, really, really quick. So the inconsistency with the horses in this show just baffles me. This horde is like, half a mile away and the horses freak out and run. Whereas, Rick's horse
can be surrounded.
And is calm as shit, like, while waiting for Rick to get on it.
Right, yeah. I agree with you, the consistency of the horses. Though I did like that the Savior group was using walkers as their horses.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool. I was like, right on. Way to put them to work.
Seriously.
Okay, so first of all, they really beefed up Eugene. Because the Eugene I know could never climb that water tower.
Oh, no.
Straight up. And he bounds up there. He does his job. He comes back down, almost makes it to the bottom. And then he takes an injury. All right.
His ladder fell over and he had to drop like the 10 or 15 feet to the ground.
So he's going to have a blown out knee. That's a from a football fan, I can tell you that's about a year of rehab, and
Yeah.
he's gonna have a tough go of it. But the herd, he says, the horde has made a U-turn and come back, and I think that's a very telling statement.
Yeah.
That might have got passed by a lot of people was that horde wasn't supposed to be there.
Nope.
And somebody is redirecting the horde.
Yeah.
And so then they run from the horde, and Eugene tries to profess his love, and she won't have that shit. And
He was gonna do the brave thing of sacrificing himself so she could get away. But
that's
she's
what
like,
he
nope,
does. I mean, he is that guy. He would do that.
oh, he is.
And that's
Yeah, I mean, at his core,
do.
Eugene's a good guy.
Right. And he does really truly have feelings for Rosita. And that's all good. But she ain't never gonna pick him because she goes to power.
Yes.
It was Abraham. It's now, the milky-eyed preacher, who seems to be like the head of the council. So, if the governor was still around, Rosita would be on his dick. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, Eugene could do better. And
yeah, I'm sure there's a nerdy girl out there that that's like science and all that stuff that's just waiting for Eugene.
We could have had remember Denise, because she would have been so great if she was like straight and alive.
And alive.
She's not. So as they run from the herd, they do the old cover yourself in the mud trick, which apparently is a new thing that works.
I guess so.
Never worked fucking before. Okay. And then we hear in the horde, don't let them get away.
Where are they? Yeah, where are they? Don't let them get away.
Don't let them get away. And oh my God, the walkers are talking. Finally, we get some walkers with some sense. Now we can have the Night's King of Walkers.
Well, see, now we have to change the show to the Walking Talking Dead.
The Walking Talking Dead to Talkie Walkie Dead.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Chris Hardwick's gonna have to rename his show because now the dead are talking. So
the Talking Dead Hardwick guests were the Deaf Girls and one of the guys
and one of the Property Brothers.
One of the property manager guy. And the property manager guy, obviously not a comic book guy, because he's like, so the walkers are like talking, man. That's crazy. And Chris Hardwick's looking at him like, man, I have said whisperers 15 times this episode. Get it through your head. What they do, they whispered. Oh, I heard a whisper. Like, yeah, we get it. It's the whispers. So hopefully we're about to see Opie. And
maybe by the last episode this year.
I think the mid-season finale, we'll probably get a little Opie taste. And that's good. That's great.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at. I think that covers everybody. And did we leave anybody out?
Not necessarily, but we did Negan, Judith and Negan.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about that. That was a fun little scene.
Yeah.
I like that they did the little bit, and Negan's all cleaned up a little bit.
Negan seems to be in much better spirits nowadays.
And I like that Judith throws him a little shit. And, and I also I really appreciated his math lesson. Was have you ever seen a plane? No. You think you ever will? No. Then fucking this stupid question.
Yeah. Let's give me something that deals with our world now as we know it, and that'll be useful.
Right. But Judith throws that shit at him and says, it doesn't matter if you're a good person or a bad person with math. It's just about the numbers.
Yeah.
And that kind of says a lot about what she does not hold him in the esteem he may think. I don't think.
No. But the fact that she is willing to talk to him, there's probably not very many people that are willing to talk to Negan.
No, probably not. They seem to have at least established a relationship over time.
Yeah, I mean, and Negan definitely seems to genuinely appreciate her company. He wasn't. If you look at the last few episodes, whenever somebody would go talk to Negan was just trying to push their buttons, just riling feathers. Whereas with Judith, like, he seemed to really enjoy just having somebody to talk to. Because chances are,
too.
What?
He really liked Carl too.
True. And if Carl had been alive, maybe we'd see this kind of interaction between the two of them. But, like I said, pretty much everybody in Alexandria, I'm sure, hates Negan. Still 6 years, 7 years later, they're hating the guy because of what he did and what he cost them. So Negan's never ever going to be accepted, but at least, Judith is willing to kind of give him a chance, or at least, treat him like a human being.
Do you think Negan gets out of the cell by the mid-season finale?
No.
No, I mean neither. It's kind of like what they did with Daryl when they gave him the season of grunting. Yeah, if they're gonna lock him up for a full season, that's gonna suck. And
because I thought in the comic books it was like the newcomers that actually tried to get Negan out.
Oh, I don't even see. I've never read past where we're at. So
I read a couple issues past where All Out War ended, like the start of the Whisperers, and there was a new group of people that came in, and they found Negan and were like chatting him up and whatnot. It sounded like I don't know if it was him trying to suggest to them or them trying to get him out because they thought he didn't, they felt he didn't belong in there. But I thought that group of people, this new group, was responsible for trying to get Negan out in the first place. But like I said, it's been a long time.
I think it'll be easier for them to let him out now that the saviors are dealt with. Carol gave us that death blow that took the rest of the saviors as we know them out of the picture.
Yeah.
So,
but at the same time, we don't know what the rules are. We don't know if there's like any kind of plans to like try and rehabilitate Negan, or if they're just going to keep him in a cage until he's dead.
Michonne's not there to rehabilitate him. That's for damn sure.
No.
And, if it was rehabilitation was on her mind, you'd send him to Hilltop.
Yeah.
which is what she does with her problems, apparently.
And that's the other thing, too, is they kind of hinted at it in the episode, but it seems like the relation between Hilltop, Alexandria, and the Kingdom are still kind of strained.
Yeah, it appears that the Kingdom is having a fair.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a big to-do. I hope they get a Ferris wheel. That'd be bitchin'. I want to see corn dogs because it's a fair.
Giant turkey legs,
funnel cake, 100%,
and fried food, all kinds of fried food.
And somebody doing like face makeup caricatures. That would be awesome. Because I would love to see Daryl done up as a little kitty cat. It would amuse me to no end. What kind of midway do you see at the Kingdom Fair?
Probably throwing balls at bottles, or ring toss of some sort.
Cornhole.
Games you can kind of get away with in the apocalypse,
right? Well, it's the South, so they're gonna play some cornhole. Trust me. They fucking love cornhole. Simple games. All right, that covers the episode, eh?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right, let's move on because last week our episode deteriorated completely because there was nothing to talk about. At least we got almost 40 minutes worth of episode out of this one.
Yeah,
that's good. So
I will say this: as now that the 5 episodes of getting rid of Rick are out of the way and the story can actually progress, yeah, I'm excited to see what they're going to do now because, like I said, those first 5 episodes, nothing happened other than setting up Rick's departure.
Right. So we got those 5 episodes and now we only get 2 more and then we're at mid-season finale.
Yeah. It's almost like they wasted half a season saying goodbye to Andrew Lincoln.
Yeah. It was the walk to terminus all over again.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, that was horrible.
It was bad. But, yeah, so we'll get there and hopefully the second half of this season will pick up the action, sweet pace.
Yeah.
But today there's sadder news in the world, and we lost Stan Lee today, and that's a bummer.
That sucked.
Stan Lee, of course, is creator of most of the Marvel universe, and
yeah,
what would be your favorite Stan Lee character?
Oh, geez. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I love the X-Men. I love the Fantastic Four. Spider. I mean, pretty much everything Marvel put out in the 60s, Stan Lee had a hand in creating. and all these characters are still around today. Pretty much the entirety of the Marvel Cinematic Universe came from Stan Lee's brain.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but most of it. It's hard to pick just one character that he created, because the guy created so many amazing characters in his career.
When I came into the comic books, when Atomic Steve got me into it, Spider-Man was one of the first ones that really came home. Preacher was my first love of a comic book, but Spider-Man, and it was, whose run of Spider-Man was it? I guess it was it Brian Michael Bendis do a run on Spider-Man?
Yeah, I think he did, actually.
Ultimate Spider-Man, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Ultimate Spider-Man, yeah.
That would have been the book that Atomic got me. So that was kind of my introduction to Spidey, and I've gone back and read a lot more. And the movies, the first set of movies with Tobey Maguire, of course, are great. I love those.
Yeah.
I like Tom Holland Homecoming. I was not an Andrew Garfield Spidey fan, but yeah, so I like Spider-Man. He's probably my favorite. The Hulk, I dig that. I once wrote a sketch. It was going to be a series of sketches about other things that happened in the comic book world, and I was calling it Meanwhile. Mm-hmm. It's like that one page that starts like Meanwhile on the other side of Gotham. And I had one where Banner wakes up with a girl that the Hulk brought home. And he has to explain to her, and she's like, "You are not the guy that I came home with." And he's like, "No, I know." I always thought that would have been a great, really funny theater thing, but
when it comes to comics, I think I can only think of like one other person that is on par with Stan Lee as far as the mark they left on the industry. That would probably be Jack Kirby. Jack Kirby.
It's the same mark.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee co-created stuff together. Stan Lee, was big on the Marvel side. Jack Kirby had a huge impact on DC Comics. But I mean, they worked together, but outside of those two, I mean, those are like the big powerhouses in comic books. There's nobody else that's ever come close to kind of having that mark that those guys have. And the fact that these two guys are responsible for creating so many characters that are around today that everybody else, a lot of these major artists and writers, made names for themselves on these characters that these two guys created. Jim Lee made his name on X-Men. Todd McFarlane made his name on Spider-Man. Things like that. People that are, giants in the industry now came up on characters that Stan Lee created.
True that. I was going to try to there isn't any person in another realm that you can say Stan Lee is not the LeBron James of basketball, because LeBron James did not create it.
No.
He's bigger than LeBron James in basketball. And
you can't say that Stan Lee created the comic industry, but Stan Lee revolutionized the industry. Stan Lee changed it,
He is to comics what Elon Musk is to space.
Pretty much, yeah.
He didn't invent space, but he's certainly finding a way to get you there.
Yeah, there are people doing stuff before Stan Lee. Siegel and Schuster with Superman, and Bob Kane with Batman. All the old Golden Age stuff. William Masters Moulton with Wonder Woman. These characters were out years before Stan Lee put his first book out, but Stan Lee, is Marvel Comics.
He was a face too. He was the face of Marvel Comics. Everyone knows who Stan Lee is.
And I mean, Stan Lee, he had a soapbox. He wrote about social commentary within the comic industry. His comic books had messages, and they talked about morals.
They were all messages. Everything was a message.
And a lot of people looked at it, and they still look at comic books as a form of escapism. But he took the time to, to write these escapist stories, but to also make you think about the world around you. There's so many of these stories that were metaphors for things that were going on in the world at the time.
Sure. Look what X-Men is an enormous parable.
Yeah,
Everything he did. There was another message to it. The rage inside the Hulk was his own rage, and
exactly.
of all the social injustice and of the time he was living in, and he had to deal with a comic book code that was ridiculous in what it would let them put out, and with what the artists get away with today, and what I was watching Titans, this new
the DC
program.
show.
Yeah, have you seen any of it? Have you heard anything?
I saw the trailers when it came out, but I haven't watched. I don't have the DC streaming service, so
Yeah, well, I didn't realize that that's what it was, and I came across it on my Fire Stick. So I was
yeah.
watching. I watched the first episode this morning, and I was like, "Oh, they're doing live action Teen Titans. All right, well, let's check this out."
Until you get to fuck Batman.
Fuck Batman, like right out of the gate, and I'm like, "Wow." Like,
Yeah, that was in the trailer when they first dropped that, and I'm like, you know what? Fuck this show.
like fuck Batman, and the way it's said, it's probably out of context in the commercial or in the trailer.
Well, from what I saw, it's like Robin drops down on these guys robbing something, and they're like, "Oh, it's Batman! Like it's Batman. Where's Batman?" And he's like, "Fuck Batman."
Yeah, it's not quite that, but yeah, it is. But it wasn't. It's not a bad show, but it's very not comic book code.
Yeah, well, I mean, the comic book code's kind of gone away, the last decade or so.
Oh, sure.
Nobody really adheres to it, but
we're talking Stan Lee, and he had to deal with that shit.
Oh yeah,
and had to write around it, and had to write, try to get black characters places in comic books when there weren't any.
Yeah, and, Luke Cage, Black Panther, these characters that he created, in a time, in the midst of civil rights and things like that, he was giving these characters, these minorities, these underrepresented people, he was giving them their platform. He was, writing stories about these people, writing a story about an African king, who would have done that in that time period?
Speaking of that,
that was a ballsy move.
Did you see that post I put up about Wakanda offering services to Rose Bader Ginsburg?
I did not, but
yeah, it said Black Twitter has invited Rose Bader Ginsburg to Wakanda for new ribs. It said, "We will keep her alive." And then the next meme was scientists say the first person to live for 150 years has already been born. Let's hope it's Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Yeah. But yeah, like over the last decade or so, I mean, hell, even 15, 20 years, Stan Lee, even after he left Marvel, he was still the ambassador for Marvel. Between all the cameos, all the convention appearances, I mean, the guy was everywhere.
I can't imagine going to see a Marvel movie and not spotting the Stan Lee cameo. It's gonna suck so hard.
We get at least one more.
The next Infinity War?
Yeah, he already filmed his bit for Infinity War for Avengers 4.
Oh, but that's gonna be it. I mean,
maybe he already filmed his bit for Miss Marvel. I'm hoping he did that for Miss Marvel.
Yeah, probably. That's already in the can.
Pretty much, yeah. So at most we get 2 more Stan Lee cameos.
Oh, man, it's gonna suck.
I was thinking about today. I think my favorite of the Stan Lee cameos was probably in Civil War. At the end, when he shows up as the FedEx driver, looking for Tony Stank.
I think my favorite one is when he actually played one of his own characters in Fantastic Four.
Oh, when he played the mailman, yeah.
The mailman. I dug that one. That was very
that was a great little touch. Or him as a watcher.
Yeah, that was good.
I mean, they did some great things with Stan, and Stan was always seemed gracious enough to roll with all of those things. I mean, look at Mallrats. That scene in Mallrats was one of the funniest bits of that movie. I mean,
I know it's one of those scenes that he didn't have to do. I mean, I can't wait to hear what Kevin Smith says. But
he put out something on Instagram this morning.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
it was yeah. Stan Lee's appearance in Mallrats was one of the greatest things ever.
Yeah. And the fact that they got him to, Brody's sitting there talking about superhero sex organs with Stan Lee, and Stan Lee's all calmly taking it. I'm like, you know what? That's a pretty cool guy to, yeah, it's a movie and it's a script, but the fact that he was like, he saw that and be like, okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. If that's what you want to do, if that's the direction you want to take it, that's fine. That's cool.
Yeah.
We're good on it. Yeah, he'll definitely be missed. But it was 95 years. It was a very long life.
Oh yeah, I mean,
and
he's been having a lot of health issues lately and a lot of legal battles.
Is a legend.
Yeah.
There's again, to find someone that had that much impact on their specific field. It's insane to think about it, the impact he had on it.
And yeah, I mean, I'd say that he left some pretty big shoes to fill, but the reality is there's nobody ever going to be able to fill those kinds of shoes.
No, but
I don't.
I'm sorry, but he left a great a great just toy box full of characters.
Yeah,
a bunch of comic book writers are going to play with for a long, long time.
Yeah, you get some of these writers that they create these characters and they don't want anybody else to write these characters. Stan Lee, like, I don't know if in the 60s when Stan Lee was writing Spider-Man, if he figured Spider-Man would still be around in 2018 and he'd still be just as popular, or that the X-Men would be as big as they are, that these characters would still have such a huge impact in people's lives. I don't even think he expected them to have that kind of impact at all when he was creating these characters. But, to see something that you've created, live on long after you do, to see the way it affects all these people's lives, even non-comic book fans. You look at the movies, these movies are making billions of dollars because non-comic book fans are seeing them too. This guy has created something that is bigger than everybody.
Do you know how many millionaires have been made because of Stan Lee?
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of millionaires exist over the course of these 40 plus Marvel movies now.
Look at the fact that Disney paid $4 billion for for a lot of what he created.
Yeah. And I know Stan Lee doesn't leave this earth with that kind of bank account. And that's a shame, because if anybody should have had the money, it should have been Stan. Because he probably would have done great things with it. But I never once heard an article about Stan Lee where he was bitching that he didn't have any money, or that he felt underappreciated, or he was the most adored man in the world of comic books. And it is a tremendous loss.
Like, everything I've seen about this guy, he was absolutely 100% gracious to all of his fans. He would sit there and talk to these people. He loved meeting the fans. He was, from what I've seen, he's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. And to know that there's people like that out there, he didn't have to do that stuff. He could have just written his stories, collected his paychecks, made a few appearances here and there and gone home. But no, this guy, he loved the fans, the people that were affected by the stories that he told. That was, a great point of pride for him. He was so thrilled that the stuff that he created, meant so much to all these people. And, never heard anything bad about this guy ever. Doesn't mean that there isn't, but, in 30 some odd years that I've been reading comic books, I've never heard anyone utter a bad word about Stan Lee.
Right. And you know what, if they did, whatever. We're no.
I think probably the closest you can get to that is the whole Spider-Man, credits with Steve Ditko. For a long time, Stan Lee was the sole credited creator of Spider-Man. And there were lawsuits with that kind of stuff. But I don't think Stan Lee was doing it to be malicious. It was just that's what happened at the time.
It was what it was, and he leaves such a legacy behind, and again, a toy box full of toys that are going to get played with for years. From writers. I can't imagine creating that many characters that are that loved.
If you're lucky in the comic book industry, you create a character that has any kind of lasting impact. You know,
Right.
Stan Lee created hundreds
Right. He
of characters.
didn't just like I created Hellboy. Oh, that's awesome. Hellboy's great. But he
Yeah.
created, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
And I remember like reading something he said like years ago when he was talking about how he created some of these characters, and he's like, he always liked the science behind it, but didn't understand science, so he made the stuff up. Like he didn't know what a gamma ray was, but you know what? You needed something to turn Bruce Banner into the Hulk. Gamma radiation, radioactive spider, sure, cosmic rays, whatever. Just throwing all kinds of shit out there that wasn't invented or people didn't know what this was, but he'd use this for his stories, and it made sense, and it worked for these characters.
Every single origin story is iconic.
Yeah.
Like
they really are.
No matter how often you reboot the Fantastic Four to try to make a good movie, the impetus is still going to be cosmic radiation turned them into the Fantastic Four. Spider-Man is always going to be bit by a spider, no matter how many times you do it. You're going to have to show Spider-Man it's like Bruce Wayne parents getting killed. You have to show it. It's a mandatory. It's part of that origin.
Exactly.
And not until the X-Men did he boot out on origin stories, because the X-Men was just they evolved. But up until then, every character has a fantastic origin. Even Daredevil. I mean, like crazy. Just the amount of great origin.
The imagination that this guy had was unrivaled.
Whether gamma radiation was real or not didn't matter.
Nope.
Like, the first time I read that, I was like, "That's why the Hulk's fucking green." Right? Okay, I get it. Perfect.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, no.
So, all right. Well, folks, it is again a sad day, but we will celebrate the life of Stan Lee and not mourn it. He gave us too much good stuff. So this week, just read your favorite Marvel book. Whatever it is, just grab it and take a good read through it. It'll all be okay.
Yeah, we'll get through this.
Next week we'll be back. We got 2 more episodes of Where's Carl before this season comes to a halt, and then hopefully we'll be launching Why We Love, because that's gonna be so much fun.
I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's gonna be great. So, all right, folks. Until next week, Excelsior.